The photographer comes up to me and starts speaking at me harshly. Says, "The dance floor needs to be swept." This could come off as a little diva for me, but, I'm not a diva. I'm just looking out for the client, okay? And I just am looking out to make your wedding awesome. That's all this is about. Anytime I meet someone that works in the wedding industry that I really like, I usually reach out to them a few days or months, few days or weeks after I've worked with them and ask if they'd be interested in working with me again. And usually the answer is yes, if they're mutual on that feeling, because usually it's not just me thinking that it was a good team. They might have thought that as well. But I've been doing this a very long time, and there are some vendors that I prefer over others, as is there's probably DJs that other vendors prefer over me. It's what it is, okay? Which is why I offer a preferred vendors list to all of my clients, or to everyone who contacts me. I send you my preferred vendors list. And then I also have a very secret, this isn't something I share with anybody, but I have a secret vendors do not work with list too. So there are some vendors out there who are detrimental to what I'm trying to accomplish as a wedding DJ. And just so I'm clear about that, everything that I'm trying to accomplish as the wedding DJ is based solely on previous conversations that I've had with the client. It's based on nothing else. It has nothing to do with my own personal bias. It's solely based off of what our conversations are, what I have down on paper, and that's it. For example, sometimes I see photographers come along and they only care about their own work, and they end up getting in the way of my clients having a good time until they leave. Then they finally thank God they're gone. So there's this photographer that I've worked with numerous times where she'll randomly sneak the bride and groom away to go take sunset photos. Okay, I got the dance floor hopping, it's going crazy, and then suddenly the bride and groom just disappear. I don't even see them leave, and they're gone for 30 to 45 minutes. Where are we going? We still have things to do. And by the time they get back, the party's dying. It's in need of the guest of honor. If you leave your own reception for 45 minutes, what do you think is going to happen? Don't do that. And don't pick a photographer that will make you do that, because no matter what, it's going to cause issues with the party. I'm not going to call out this photographer by name in particular, because it's not just one person. It's just one comes to mind. But there's actually all kinds of photographers who do this. So this must be just like a thing that's discussed in the interlinkings of the photographer industry when it comes to weddings, because some reason photographers just think it's okay to pull the bride and groom away for 30 to 45 minutes to do sunset photos. It's not. So every time that I book a wedding, I typically ask the bride and groom which vendors they've already booked and which ones they're still considering. That way, one, I know if I'm going to clash with them, if they're going to clash with the mission that I have as your wedding DJ. Most of us who work in the industry, in the wedding industry, carry a list. That's a list of which vendors we prefer to work with. It's not just the ones that we work well with, but it's the ones that we can communicate with on a higher level. Sometimes we don't even have to talk, but we know what we're saying to each other. And then another example, I can't believe this situation, right? A couple of weeks ago, I was in Columbus, okay, for a wedding, and apparently the dance floor was a bit slippery. I didn't notice. The photographer, first conversation with them, the photographer comes up to me and starts speaking at me harshly. Says, "The dance floor needs to be swept." So no cordial greeting, no professional tone, just an abrupt order, like it's my job to maintain the cleanliness of this venue. Now that just tells me that this photographer is an amateur for a few reasons. First of all, anyone working in the wedding industry should know that the DJ is associated as a DJ, and that's it. They aren't associated with the venue. Second, I've worked with photographers in the past, or any vendor in general, who will introduce themselves, shake your hand, and ask for a timeline of the day, which I always have a couple copies ready for any vendor, just in case, they're curious and we want to get on the same page. Third, she should see that as the wedding DJ, I got a lot of things going on. And usually the first time I see the photographer, this is the moment when we're going to get going and we need to start the grand entrance, which is where we're going to introduce the entire wedding party. So by coming up to me and approaching me by saying that the floor needs to be swept, am I expected to just drop everything and go grab a dustpan and sweep up the dance floor? The dance floor was massive. Like, I'm going to guess it was like 25 by 25 feet. It was huge, okay? Like 5,000 square feet. But I'm curious what she expected to get for a response in that moment. I can't even remember what I said because I was just so shocked with her tone. It wasn't even about what she said. It was about the tone. Did she want me to go on the PA system and, call out the venue for having a slippery floor? Did she expect me to delay the grand entrance and go grab a dustpan and a broom and just do it myself? Neither of those things are going to happen. So what was the point of that comment? I don't understand. And if she ends up seeing this video, maybe you can clarify it by commenting what your approach was with that, because it was entirely unprofessional. I'll be finding out this photographer's name and putting them on my do not hire list, because the venue and the videographers also, I didn't even bring it up. The venue and the videographers came to me to complain about this photographer as well. And you do not want to hire a photographer or any vendor that is making the job harder on your other vendors. And that's why I always push my clients to check out my preferred list, because that kind of hostility will affect everything when it comes to your wedding day. Plus, if they're hostile with one vendor on one wedding day, who's to say they're not like that at every single wedding that they work at? It's just, they're an a-hole. Sorry. And if you see this and I'm talking about you, I'm not calling you out by name, but don't be an a-hole. Do your research and ask other vendors what they think about them. What's their honest opinion? And don't just ask what their work is like, because you can see that on full display when you do your research. Whether it's a caterer, decorator, photographer, videographer, or even DJ, what I want you to do is ask those vendors, one, have they heard of them or have they worked with them? And then let's say, did this caterer get the food served quickly? Did they show up on time? Did the cake maker have the cake fall apart before the cake cutting? Because I've seen that happen. I've seen the cake go toppling over. Look up videos on YouTube. It happens a lot because some of these cake decorators drop off the cake. They don't know if it stayed together. They just hope, they just know if it did, if you email them. But I'm going to be honest, there's so much happening on their wedding day that they don't even think to follow up with the cake person. Did the photographer get in the way of the videographer shots? This is something I hear videographers complain about all the time. Those are things that you want to know. Hire vendors and teams. Avoid the drama, because believe it or not, there is drama in the wedding industry.